259. $259. All kinds of notifications keep ringing. So live, it's 3 o'clock. Yes, we're live, and for all those who will join in, and for all those who have joined, a big thank you. And it's going to be a lot of interesting things about music. To start off with, initially, I think the most important thing that we need to address is how to learn music, because I get a feeling that there's a lot of music being taught all across, but not much goes into how we have to learn, because it looks like the initial practice of music is only for the sake of being a performer. And I mean, as a target, yes, to begin with, yes, it absolutely makes sense. But how to explain to somebody that yes, you need to really grow in music? Because if you remember, miss, for people of my age, I will say, as a kid, when I used to listen to music, we used to get those cassette tapes, and the cassette tape would have somewhere around 7, 8, at least 5 to 7 to 8 songs we used to have. But the interesting part was, you would have one favorite song in the entire album, and you would just always go put on the tape, go exactly to that place, and that's how it used to be. But gradually, after 6 months or 7 months, or depending on the time period, different people have different time periods, you would discover another nice song, another song, because sometimes you wouldn't know how to go and switch off after your favorite song, and the other song would also play. And gradually, you would end up, after maybe an entire year, a cassette would be fully utilized from song number 1 to song number 8 only by 6 to 8 months. So even when it is available with you, you would rush to hear it. Correct. That's how the whole concept of hearing is. If having bought a cassette and still not, you don't hear to all the songs just immediately to decide what you're going to like. So that's exactly the way everything in music depends. Like when you start learning, at first, this the whole physical aspect of learning, just to be able to, okay, get up at a particular time, practice a little bit, and make yourself get used to a certain regimentation. Like, okay, whatever it be, at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to sit and learn and practice a little bit. Whatever. This regimentation is the real tough part of learning music, because in academics, it's not so. When you go to a class, there is a certain way, you know that what the teacher is being teaching, is explaining to you, is also available somewhere. But here, in the case of music, it doesn't happen like that. You might think that you have heard everything, but just by hearing, it doesn't help. Listening to something, being able to motivate yourself, to drive yourself to the point of saying, okay, yes, from what I heard and what I learned today, learning, the whole idea of listening. So I get a feeling sometimes that in our music system also, it so happens that people are not accustomed to still listening. Means I've seen this even in the case of people who are put the child to learn, and there's a small performance. Let us say there are 20 kids performing. The first kid doesn't wait to listen to the 20th kid. Maybe the parents do not have the time and patience for that. But So, do we encourage? Are we encouraging listening for the child? So, if the child gets a feeling that actually listening is still not a part of the learning, then how will the progress happen further? Simple, simple thought. Just expressing it with you people. If somebody has an opinion on anything, you can send the live chat. You can say something, and yeah. So welcome. I'm just putting the chat out. Welcome everyone. You can respond. So the parents, they put a child into the music lesson and they just forget about it for. And sometimes some parents might even be saying, "Okay, what are you learning? Show me what you have learned." And nowadays, it's much tougher. It's much tougher to identify whether the parents are forcing the child to perform, whether it's just to see whether the child is performing, or just the fear that is he being taught something at all. So that pressure builds up on a child, and I think the child doesn't feel like, gradually says, okay, oh, it's if it's only the worry about the paisa vasool, then I'm not interested. And gradually the child drops out. It's, if so many times I've seen this happen so many places. Like even as a teacher, when we were teaching regularly, when I was teaching very regularly, I used to notice this, that first there is absolute disinterest in the family. They say, okay, Kalita is learning something. Some places like, oh God, already we have spent so much of money for 3 months. What did he learn? So I think the idea of encouraging the child to listen will be the first thing. If you can encourage the child to listen, and listen doesn't just apply only for the sake of learning music. Listen applies to many other things also. Like when somebody, if you are having a conversation with somebody, how often do I notice that even with people I know, sometimes when they talk, and when you are talking, I don't think they're listening. They just switched off like a bulb, and then again they come on and then they talk. And so that, I find that listening extends beyond just the activity of music. It's for everything: conversations with friends, conversation with people. It's not just about making an intelligent conversation, it's just about making a conversation and even listening to a conversation. So half the time I remember I have sometimes meetings with people on the Zoom. And after 15 days, if I say that on that meeting we had discussed this, they'll be like, oh, really? Because they might not have heard it at all. So, yeah, this is funny loopy sound, talk, 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 coming into this live. I don't know how that works. Anyway, so that is one. And I'm just waiting if somebody is asking something, going into a chat or something like that. Let's see. The first time I'm doing it. Couple of lives down, maybe I'll be a bit more experienced in handling this better than today. It's all about learning. So I'm eager to learn. What is this participants? Anurag, how do you find out pop out chat? What is a pop out chat? New pin chat. Okay, I have to understand all these things. Can learn it. No problem. इसमें audio कैसे देना था? Audio is clear. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈವ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ. ಟೈಮ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್. ಎಷ್ಟು ನಾವು learn more. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Okay. Learning more streaming tips. Wow, this is a huge booklet. Take me some time to learn. And yeah, means yeah, I also released a classical recording yesterday. Slide guitar, Yaman 13 beats, and with amazing Pandit Charudat Fadke on the tabla. And it was a remote collaboration which we did. And we are loving the content, especially the emphasis on listening. Thank you so much, Veena. Okay. So, yep. Listening means usually this is a question which many people ask me how to listen to something. It's a very, it's a very difficult question if you look at it in its serious way. How to listen? Because when you're listening, there are various ways in which you listen. Sometimes you listen as a student of music because you're learning something and your learning is corresponding to, oh, I'm learning like this, so I'm listening to this on the basis of what I have learned. I'm trying to correlate what I've been learning. That is one kind of listening, which is the beginner's ear, I would say, the beginner ear. And then there is another set of listening where people are actually not interested at all about what they're listening, but they listen. They just like promptly tune up on a certain time and they just listen. Yeah, something. It might not retain in their memories. It might just not be. It's not of any specific benefit or anything connected to anything, but they listen, and that's also a great segment in itself. And sometimes those are the kind of segments which actually, when you go on to look at the chart of YouTube and all this, those listeners might be making a huge difference to your overall statistics because they are not listening to it with any purpose. They just listen. Then it's very difficult to explain to somebody how to listen without expecting anything. I think that's the best form of listener, where there is no expectation of what am I going to receive. No, the feeling that yes, this person is giving something musical, and it definitely is going to be something good. If that much of preparation is there in the heart, so you are listening without any barriers in your mind. Sometimes it so happens that the ideological posts about ideology and all those things become it's a very weird commitment. Like I have to commit myself to this ideology to hear this. It's the biggest dent of listening. Sometimes, okay, I like the person, but I do not like the philosophy. Sometimes it's I like the philosophy, but I don't like the person. There are thousands of ways in which we will tell ourselves or our mind suggests that we should not be listening to something. So sometimes it just feels like okay, having no expectation, just listening. That some I discovered this in my own life where I was in Mangalore many years back, and I was sitting maybe half a kilometer from the ocean, and we were talking something, and I was talking to my friend, and this is talking, and suddenly we both slowly became quiet because subconsciously something was attracting our ears to that very interesting sound of the ocean. It's very, very interesting. And slowly, with as time was passing, our conversation, yeah, it was like that, and like that, and yeah, it was like that, and then it slowed down to, yes. Sometimes in between, you would try to remember even what topic you were discussing. And the sound of the ocean was just so powerful and attractive that we heard the sound of the ocean, and then gradually, I think, after some time, we even walked towards the ocean to look at the beautiful splendor of the ocean. So that was when I really realized that listening, what attracts ultimately, I think, when we drop all our defenses, when we are not wanting to listen to something, we actually listen to it. It's a very weird thing. Might be very confusing also when I say that. But you're not, some songs, like you'll have first heard the lyrics of the song, then couple of months pass by, then you can hear the little piano in the song, and couple of more months by, then you can hear to the violin and cello and all that in the song. So it's just starts growing upon you when you do not want to have any specific target of why am I listening to this. That's all. So it's the simplest. I think that one big philosophy, if we follow with even the children who come to learn, it's very like in Hindustani classical music. Also, I have seen where we have, we sing the something, and then you wait. There's a brief little pause, in which later the student repeats back this. It's quite a very, if you notice, the more and more and more and more experience the student gets, he could wade with the guru till an entire cycle, not singing anything, just listening to the guru for the entire cycle. And then after that, he puts his way of presenting what he heard in the entire cycle. And that, a Bada Khyal in Hindustani classical is something which could be stretching for almost one entire cycle, could go on to almost like 40 seconds to even a minute sometimes. So the student listens to the entire observation of what the guru sings for that entire string length. Then he tries to imitate it. And by this phase, when the student is reaching this phase, that means he has actually understood and learned very well. And initially, the excitement of when the and the student immediately sings, "Ah," because it's an excitement of I can also do that immediately. It's the student always wants to be that. And immediately he'll sing, ah. But he will, but so what will happen if the guru has a now in the excitement of getting that phrase, he has sung the whole thing, and that last bit he has missed out. So even when you are listening, you're not listening. And even when you're not listening, you're listening. It's, I think, yeah, maybe confusing people, but it's, it's quite a philosophical thing to listen. So listening without, because it's so happening with everything today, no? Even it's exactly what I'm noticing even with words. We have got a very small vocabulary of words which we seem to know to describe anything. And thanks to social media and all this, our understanding of words has just come down to awesome, amazing, some such words. And often I wonder that when we read in English of similes and metaphors and the value of those things, today I realize that there's so much more now, because the communications are just coming down tremendously. How to be able to improve that is a part of learning. That again means you have to listen, which is what I feel key. Even in the class, the students are there and the teacher is teaching, but are the students listening? If they will listen, they will learn. So how will they learn? Also directly proportion to how they listen. So just a simple thought of sharing. I don't want to get too philosophical and drift away, which I often have the habit of. So yeah, and anybody wanting to ask something, please feel free. Ask in the chat. I can try to answer with the best of my ability. Hope. So the classical one which we have released, it's in the last within the last 2 weeks, two interesting releases happened. One was Omkara, which we released. and it got a tremendous response. I think Omkara, the last I checked, 43 responses in a matter of just a week and 8 days. It was very exciting, and I want more people to watch the song because Omkara is a very interesting fusion of the Ektara being coupled with the drum and bass. It's means I will tell you how in my mind it happened that Ektar and drum and bass both came together because that Ektara, this dong, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, down, down. Now look at how the drum bass are. Now that offbeat. If you listen to bhajans also, you'll notice. Dindage, kitage, tintage, kitage, dinda. Om kara, tage, kitara, om kara in my head. Tum ala ta. So, dum, tak, 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 dum, tak. So that both these came together in the head, and big thanks to Kush. Kush also liked it, so we just went ahead with that. So yeah, people who are, if you're watching this, go and type Omkara, go watch the song, and beautiful video, beautifully done by Kush. A big thanks to Kush and Krishna Shakti, that amazing video that they put together. And yeah, and also it will give us a sense of, okay, what more can we try? If people have liked the concept of Ektara fusing with the drum and bass, then it's very encouraging. You can try lots of more new things, and we'll share it with you. And then yesterday, I released the Yaman Bandish set to 13 beats, and the concept of the 13 beat style is again like then tirikit deena tu na katta tirikit deena di deena then so, and you can, some people can do it as 10 in 3, then tirikit deena tirikit deena tirikit deena deena then tirikit deena tirikit deena then it's, and Charudaji has played fantastically, I would say. And the best part of this whole thing is it's a remote collaboration. I recorded this to a click track sitting here in Bangalore in my house in my studio, and Charudaji in Pune heard the whole recording, and then he went to a studio and recorded his tabla, and yeah, so when I tell these people are very surprised, like, how is it possible? I said, yeah, means you have to be able to imagine how ultimately it's going to sound together. That's the whole idea. So, what is the time now? 3:22. Okay. I'll be here for another 5 to 7 minutes. And anybody else has anything interesting to ask, welcome. You can always ask me. And somebody has sent some chat. Shafat Nadaf to the video. Okay. People are reacting to the video of that ad which I put about coming to watch this. But how many people are actually coming and watching the live? It's okay. It's a first time experience for me also. I'll also understand how to put out the publicity of all these things. And on the chat was Veena Prasad, a brilliant writer herself, two amazing books. And I think Veena has a penchant for crosswords. Very, I always find it fascinating when people are able to make this mental map of words in horizontal and vertical. Always surprises me that how will you be able to think like that? first horizontally and then vertically, then put it all together and make a crossword. It's a very fascinating thing for me. I would want to really learn how to do that. Might sound easy, but I don't think it is. And to be able to generate new crosswords every day will be a big challenge. Mira Bibi is yes, sir. I have heard Shruti changing towards the end of the song, primarily English. Why is it so? Oh, that's such a good question, Mira. Thank you so much. Brilliant. So this is, you might have noticed this in pop songs. Like something is going on. Da, 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 what they usually do, what that concept came into the Western music ages back, not ages back, when they notice that the same beat and the same key is going on for a long time, it kind of creates what people nowadays use this word ear fatigue. I've never understood what the term means. But I find people saying this word ear fatigue, like listen to the same song for such a long time. It's so boring. So for that whole ear fatigue concept, this whole idea of changing the key. Da, 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 and notice one thing. Have you ever heard any song, or if there is there any song, I would love to know where the key has dropped from what it was. So, like, I have never heard that actually. The key is always shifted up to one point up. So it's like a feeling of elevation. The the idea of like, da, 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 oh, you're going to a much bigger promise than what was being promised. So that is primarily one of the reasons. And I find nowadays, like, it's not very much in the trend. I notice it's not being done in present songs. Very few. In the last, I don't even remember which song in the present times I have heard this whole. So so the idea of why is it only taken above, because it's always a feeling. Even as a composer, when you sit down and you think you made a beautiful song in D and sounding beautiful, and then someone comes and says, boss, let's try this in E, let's move it to E or F. And when you move it to the E or F, and when you listen back, suddenly it feels like that's more impactful. It only feels like that for some time. But again, in that key, you listen to the whole song for some time. So, in the old songs, in the pop, they used to always do this elated, like elevated by a note, and then sometimes gently bring it back to its original key. So that's like a resolve. Like my song takes you on a journey and then takes you to the peak where it extends one step higher than where it was, and then slowly it brings you back, like it brings your entire emotion and the whole elation back to a very normal self and leaves you. That's also I have seen. But yeah, that thought, thanks Mira, you gave me this thought that yeah, what about in Indian music, if you notice this, that a good point. Thanks to Chaitra Santiki sitting here, not on the screen, but giving me instructions. So, in Hindustani classical music, you always notice that we go faster and faster. We start super slow, long alaps, long phrasing, and then slowly, we go. Yes, Meera Jeevi has written Tans. Yes, that's a very good observation. No, so the tan, the fast, you take it to super fast speeds, depending on your potential. So, but if you look at the definition of Tans in any book, nobody, I never, as a kid, when I read Bhatkande or Hathras, any of these books, and when it says what is Tan definition, जब बंदिश को ताना जाएगा, this बंदिश को तानने का means in Hindi meaning stretch. I found it such a strange explanation because it's not tan, you're not stretching it. Stretching something makes it loose, right? You stretch it but here the bandish is going at some, it's going gently and then it becomes faster and more exciting. It's exciting. How is excitement? matlab, how do you say excitement in Hindi was the right word? Udvesh, no, what is the right word for Hindi? Excitement. Anyway, I'll get the word later on. The word excitement cannot be equated to the word stretch because in Tan in Hindi equal to English stretch. Like, really, for me to stretch the composition, I had to go so fast? No, not required. I could have been singing the composition for some more time, done some more additions to it. Then why Tans? Tan, बंदिश को तानने से तान बना है. I don't like that logic. I don't know who came up with that logic. I am not at all in. I don't agree to this logic that tan means. How is it that the bandish is being stretched but being sung so fast? No logic in this. Hmm. So yeah. So thank you so much, Meera. That was a fantastic question, and I hope many more people who might not have asked that question got that answer. Yep. And yeah, my remaining chai. Mm, anything else anybody wants to ask? Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Meera. Thank you for asking that question, bringing out such a wonderful topic. In Hindustani classical, you will never hear pitch changing because we have two tanpuras. They are going to be playing the same pitch. The musicians who have played their entire life in one single note, like some musicians have all their life been in D only. D, sometimes D ka madhyam. Madhyam. But why is it that no song ever goes to a pancham? That also I need an answer. Because I think it feels flip flop, confusing. If I'm going to pancham, then whether I am where is my shad, where is my pancham confusion starts. So Krishna ne Begani Baro, all these beautiful songs, they're all shadja madhyam. From the madhyam they do. And it makes the sound brighter. If you play Krishna ne Begani, it's not a Krishna ne Begani. That immediate small change makes that song so much more lighter and approachable. Beautiful to listen to. And as I said, no, when we are learning, we are too conscious about, okay, I'm learning in this pitch. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಹಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೇನು ಹಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. These are all things which are directly, it's just, it's all in the mind. Okay, so, our chantings during Homa, they raise the pitch for the last chanting. Yes. Wow. Meera, you should join me in this chat. You can also give some answers to people. Very true. And I have spoken to about this particular thing which you raised. I have spoken to some of the really good people who, like, some really great experts are there who chant. And lots of the chanting experts actually do not know that they are singing from a C or a D or a E or F. They don't know all that. They have done it according to the training, how they have been trained. On that basis, they do this. And they do it so beautifully. And when the next person joins in, when the next person joins in, he joins in on just on a pure instinct. It's not like, so if I'm chanting from sa, the next guy will come, ma, I'm also going to chant from madhyam now. It's not like that. They're not exactly sure whether this is sa, ma, no, like, they're chanting naturally, and the other guy has to take it slightly more for distinct, for clarity, in clarity. So yeah, it's a brilliant point. Yeah, because initially as a kid, I used to have this confusion. I used to think that all these people who are coming and chanting are people who have been trained in classical music or something like that. So I'd go and ask them that, which pitch are you singing? And they would be like, what is that? We don't know all that. We just know how to chant. And purely on the basis of instinct, they would do such a wonderful job, which is again the beautiful thing, no? It's not that everybody has to have read so many books to sing. So many people have not read or learned anything, but naturally they're singing. It's beautiful. All natural singers also, after some time, when they actually enter the professional world or something, when they walk into the studios, then comes the time of to know what the others are doing. You have to learn. You have to learn not just to be able to express what you are expressing, but also to see that your expression will also get a suitable mm, forum, or not to say forum, a suitable backing from the other people. At that point of time, you also need to understand what they are doing. If you understand that, it will really help. Of course, the gifted most people are those who can just get up straight away and sing a beautiful song and go back to sleep. Congratulations to them. But a huge world definitely has benefited from music learning, because music learning also helps them to listen better, listen to better new things. And as I said, the whole thing about pitch, it's a great restriction in the brain. Sometimes you might not know what pitch you are singing in, but you're singing beautifully. Just you're not thinking anything, but you sang wonderfully. And then there could be a day when you're very aware from the last 2 hours. I have to start from here. I have to start, but on that day you're not able to do it 100%. You know, so it's these are all subjective things. And people have, oh, male in Shruti, I'm learning classical, so I cannot sing in that pitch. It's against my classical training. I've heard thousands of versions of people saying, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಾನು ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಸಿನಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. So that number, the name C, the name G has gotten into their head much bigger than they learn, which is what I say, that you do not have to really restrict yourself to that. Sometimes, because I have told you that even if you don't know that, and you might just be like, oh, somebody sings at some pitch and you feel so happy and you just want to accompany them as it is that moment. And it's so beautiful. You're able to do it without much of this thing, without much of a worry. And that is the moment which I always say, "Ki bhai, just now you sang in this pitch, did you know? You wouldn't know." So, whether you were able to sing without knowing the pitch, or you started singing only when you knew the pitch, no. You could sing. When a child sings, the child doesn't know what pitch the child sings in. It just bursts out into a song, it can burst out into a chant, just without that feeling of fear of, oh my God, this is not my comfortable key. More and more you learn, these things become difficult. When you know less, you're way more confident. But when you start knowing more and more, then you start getting these doubts like, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Am I singing the correct key? So anyway, it's good. You learn, and then you understand how, having learned so much, you do not have to fear. Learning can take away the fear, but having learned that I have always sung in G, and today if I sing in A, oh my God, it's not my comfortable key. So let not that not happen. It means I know it's wishful thinking, but it's a fact. If you have constantly battled with this thought that, oh, this song is in A sharp, my God, it's too high for me. Oh, G sharp is too low for me. I don't get into this. Where you feel ki, maybe it's a bit restrictive, like sorry, oh, ma is getting difficult. Okay, don't that day, don't go and sing ma. Don't think that the moment ma became a problem for me today, now my entire practice, my entire thought process will go only on how to conquer ma. It's not a conquest. It's not Everest. No. If नरिगमा नहीं हो रहा है, leave it. Just leave it there. Sariga, make your voice light, relax. Don't press it beyond the point, because some people get so much into it, ma, ma, po, po, and then the voice just shuts down because the voice is, what are you doing, Mars? Why are you troubling me? So don't do that. Means if you feel that the beyond a certain pitch, it is a little problematic for me, just relax. Relax on that day. Next day, sit with a clear slate, visit the mind with a clear slate, and you can do it. That's all. You don't have to constantly think that, okay, capturing Ma was the only goal of my life. No, it's not so. The thought of this is a very good question and a very good topic of discussion actually. What is the upper limit for voice? It's no. There's no upper limit for voice. As a musician, I have myself faced these questions, because sometimes I would walk into a studio and somebody would have done the entire music score beautifully. Lots of flute players, the favorite pitch is F. And I used to sing I thought I'm only a C sharp and D sharp singer, not more than, because my dad had a fantastic voice, and dad would, till the last years of his life, he would always sing in a D sharp E. He never wanted to come down. Yes, sir. But when I went into a studio one day, and some Veena guy had done the arrangement, so this Veena person had F sharp as his favorite key. So when I went there, that full session, I was sitting with bated breath, like, my God, I have to go to the mic and sing this F sharp. Oh my God, how will I do this? What will I ever do? And that day, for some reason, the recording didn't happen. They said, Nale banni nale. So I went next when I came back home, I was sitting with this particular song and I was singing it in C sharp. And then I just heard Krishna ne Begani Baro, and I realized ki, oh, sa ma Krishna ne begane baro, sarigama. So that suddenly it like, oh, I can sing in D sharp easily. And as a matter of fact, if I go to C sharp, my C sharp to F sharp is the Shadja Madhyam. That's all. Sama. Oh, I have been doing it all my life. And next morning I went there and I belted that song, and I didn't even at even one point of time think that, oh, this is F sharp. I am maximum D sharp. And then I realized that when you pass some more time in the studio, you realize that somehow the mind, body, everything comes in line in the studio, and you understand. Okay, you go really that high also. Your mind gives you that power of convincing that yes. So, what is upper limit? What is lower limit? I will just show you a small demo. It's not to, I mean, I'm just telling you, it's just as a matter of fact that, so now this, let us say this is G. It's in Madhyam. Let me make it Pancham. Now, I hope it's not too loud. Sa sa ne da pa ma ga re ga ma pa re cha re. Now I'm touching the low of D. Now let me A. I'm going to A, the female pitch. This is a female pitch. Usually people sing in sa ne da pa now I went low in A also. Now if I had to come high, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa re ga ma so I'm telling you, that these restrictions, these are all very much, they play heavily in your heads. So better to get out of that. Just let music just flow like a thought. Do not let music be restricted only to external things like, oh my God, my pitch, oh, high pitch, low pitch. No. Okay. Well, thank you, Meena. One more question. Is it a mandate to be silent before performance, as in not to strain the voice? See, these are all things which I said, no? Uh, it's a very conversational thing. If you are having a conversation with a favorite friend, or somebody very close, you will notice that nothing comes in the way when you're having a conversation with a good friend. Like you might be having a heavy cold, cough, everything, but this friend of yours from childhood friends knows you so well. Like, "Yenamma, how are you?" Yeah, man, I'm not that well today, or I'll talk to. But we're able to talk. And the same is if you're not so close to somebody and you have to talk to them when the cough and cold, immediately you'll feel, I can't talk at all today, pa. The first priority will be to listen to that voice which says, Ayo. Don't strain yourself to talk to people that you don't want to talk to. And yeah, means performing. See, before performances, being silent is a good thing before a performance. I'm not talking about your singing at home. If you are silent, then you are able to focus with the right, you can focus on your energy, just be quiet, listen, be quiet. That's all. That's during, before a performance, I like to be like that. But sometimes it doesn't happen. Half the time before performance, yeah, a bunch of friends are sitting and chatting about the glory, talking all kind of nonsense. And then suddenly, the moment you have to, your name is announced and you get up and you have to walk to the stage, it's, it just becomes vacuum. And when you enter the stage, it's like absolute vacuum. I was SP Balasubramaniam gave me a beautiful tip which I never forget. I was there with him for I think Yedatubbe Adidano, I think, or Padu Tatiyega. I don't know which one. I think during Padu Tatiyega, SPG told me that, Prakash, I never look at people's eyes because sometimes it could be very disorienting. Like you look at somebody with great expectation, and that person is like very shifty. So SP used to do this amazing thing that he would look just above the heads of people. He'd say, Prakash, I don't look at them. I look above the heads. And that's a small, beautiful vacant space. And that gives me a lot of confidence and makes the people feel that I am looking at them. See, what a beautiful SP gave the greatest tip of life. I have always followed it. Look at people, and then we just look above their heads. It gives them the feeling that you're looking at them, but you're actually looking at a space, just thinking about your song, Chintan Manan, they say, no, just to do. My mom used to say that, do Chintan Manan before the program. Think about what you'll perform, how you'll perform. Imagine yourself performing. It gets you into that mood early. So anyway, strain. Is it mandate to be silent before performance? As it not to strain? Yeah, means these are all I'm telling you. There are thousands of such philosophies which will be told to be. ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಾನಂತೂ ಹಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಹಿಂದೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರಂ ವಾಟರ್ ಕುಡಿದು ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. People give you all kinds of things like that, and then I have always find all of those things failed for me. Somebody, this strain thing I was told also, don't strain. And I sat very quietly, so quietly that when I went into the stage and sang, my voice had become so dry. My voice crackled horrendously. I think it was in the Octavium show during the I was singing Kalyani. Yeah, something and all happened to my voice. It went totally like a broken radio. And I just converted it into a joke and shared thing that should not be doing something, some joke about the drive. Correct. I said that if you are going out on a drive and you keep the window open, your voice will become dry and this will happen or something. Some presence of mind helps. That's all. No, don't get fluttered by anything. Just say, okay. If somebody says, okay, because you are, if you have put your practice, like how do we tell our children, ki, 2 days before the exam, are you going to study? Now we will study. That we ask this to our children all the time. No, what did you do the whole year? Same exact philosophy here also. If you have prepared your voice and you have been singing in all kinds of conditions, your voice will be natural. If when you decide, you ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ cold ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು, I will not sing today, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾಫ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು, I will not sing today, then that list becomes bigger and bigger with every passing day. ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಇವತ್ತು, ಜಿ ಶಾರ್ಪಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ ಜಿ ಓನ್ಲಿ. Finish. You have done it. Your song will not have any problem with it. And when you train your voice, when it's relaxed most in the morning when you get up, the voice is like, I sound like Amrish Puri when I get up in the morning. Good morning. I sound like that in the morning. And when your voice is so relaxed, at that point of time, if you practice just those basic little things which the teacher teaches you, sa re sa re ga, those exercises so beautifully designed, they bring you back to the same point of origin, again take you a little far, then bring you point of origin, Then take it slightly far. Sa re, sa re ga, sa re ga ma, sa re ga ma pa, sa re ga ma pa dha. See how beautiful. It's building a small concentric circle. After some time, naturally, the voice range becomes bigger. Somebody is asking me something, Sachidananda Nayak, how come you selected slide guitar? Oh, thank you so much for that beautiful question. I selected the slide guitar because I was madly in love with the slide. And my mom used to play it, obviously. My mom used to play it, and she was a fantastic player. And I felt as a kid when I heard the slide guitar for the first time, I thought that it just took me, it took me like on a world tour. And this whole thing happened when I was learning from my mother. Sa ga ma da ni da ma pa da ga ma ga re sa da ni da. This is Bhageshri. Okay. Same exact days, my neighbor friend, got a VHS recording of Pink Floyd performing Dark Side of the Moon somewhere. Imagine. Sa da ni da ma da ga ma da ni sa. I heard this and I go to his house. Crow, da, da. Oh, I said, that is Bhageshri. My mother is teaching me this just half an hour earlier. So that it clicked in my head like anything. And Pink Floyd is a huge influence in my life. I will say Pink Floyd kind of gave me the whole philosophy of what music you believe in is what you have to pursue. If everybody says this is only the way music is to be done, it's no. I then many years later I also saw beautiful interviews of the Floyd members who spoke about why music was being done in a certain way and why they thought of doing music differently. And and now also I never thought that I have done something very different. No, because that is naturally me. I used to go to wedding concerts and I used to play Shine on You Crazy Diamond. Da, 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 with tabla. Da, din, na, da, din, na, da, din, na, da. With the tabla, I would be playing Shine on You Crazy Diamond totally. People are ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಸರ್ ಭಜನೆ ಯಾವುದು ಸರ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಅದು. They would come and ask me and I would laugh to myself, but I would say it's a very old bhajan which I knew. Because if you tell somebody that just now I played Floyd for you, it might offend them. Like, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಏನೇನೋ ಬಾರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. Using PF, using of Gayaki in guitar. Yeah, yeah. So, so these are very, very intricate phrases of Indian classical music. Forget Indian classical, in any filmy song also. Tu jahan, jahan chalega, tu jahan, madapare, sagagama. See, just a pure film song. So much of classical element in it. Tu jahan, madhapare. The re is also not direct. Madhapare sa. No, but look at the phrase. Tu jahan, jahan chalega, mera saya, maga papa, साथ होगा tu jahan. If I play it on a keyboard or a pen, tarada pring prang tang kring kring tam tang tang tam tang ting ting tang 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 tang. It's how it sound, no? But how the concept of Gaiki, it's part of our culture. Gaiki is not just singing a song. I think it's part of the Indian culture. We're just so born with it. We don't even know that we might be so much into it that even if we are singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, we might be singing it in a very unique way, which they will never realize. I can't see lots of people who are learning classical music singing a song straight. You tell them sing a song straight, it's the toughest thing for them. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay. Now, how will a Hindustani person or a Carnatic person The Carnatic gamakams are different. Now the Hindustani person will always want to connect every note. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. All those extra things in. Now, Carnatic people will have different twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you. I'm not making a mock. I'm just saying that whichever style of music that you have learned and it's inside you will ultimately reflect out. So, listening to all the film songs, you'll notice that all film songs have had these elements from the day one. It's just that you might believe that no, no, I don't want to learn classical. I want to learn only filmy song. Okay, good, go ahead. But having learned classical will help you in benefiting getting all those songs. I am told, that I was playing Bhageshri in the morning, and evening I heard Dark Side of the Moon, and I thought that they had just met somewhere in my head. So it's the same today also. Any form of music that I listen to will be vibrating in my mind and like, oh, okay, this is somewhat like Bilawal. Okay, this is Bimpalaji. Oh, means I'm not saying that it's the best state to be in. I'm not advocating that you all go learn classical for 10 years to listen. For listening, there is no, as I said at the time, that listening should not be a limitation. It's not a limit. It's not like putting a boundary. Listening should be limitless. When you're listening, my dad used to say that to me, that when you, as a classical trained, when you're learning classical music, you'll obviously have this habit of going and oh my God, in Yaman he put Shuddha Madhyam. Oh my God, I don't know. I learned Yemen just last week, and I thought, oh my God, what a blunder he took at Tivur Madhyam. Cha, 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 that's not how it is. Now, that's what I'm saying. I am still not grown enough to understand that how much that is. And this phrasing I had not learned. So when I suddenly heard this phrasing, I thought, oh my God, something went wrong while that man was singing. So my dad used to say that when you go to listen, just listen. Do not put boundaries on listening, saying, oh, this is that. Oh, this is, no, 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 no. Don't waste your time. These genre classifications are made by companies to sell products, not for people to hear. Because listening is got no genres. There's no genres for listening. Anyway, so thank you, Sachidanand, thank you. And Sachidanand happens to be a very dear friend. He lives in Chikmagalur. Sachidanand, sorry that I let out your hideout. Hmm. So yeah, Gaiki, using of Gaiki and guitar. Yeah, Sachidanand also has a brilliant channel of his own. You should all go and visit that. And the Gaiki and guitar is, as I told you again, that Gaiki doesn't necessarily will be there in every song. As I told them, uh, Honge Kamya. Now, if I will do too much of Gaiki in Honge Kamya, will it sound nice? Because if 10 people have to sing the song, then you cannot define that song by Gaiki. You have to understand how to bring everybody equal, because honge kamya straight is definitely possible for even 10 people. Honge kamya pa pa dha dha pa maga. So now 10 people also I can make them sing. But if I will teach them honge kamya honge kamya, no, it sounds very amazing. I will might sound so beautiful. Wow, talent. But will 10 people be able to sing that song? No. So you have to understand where you have to exercise Gayaki to its best, where you have to understand how to minimalize the song, how to take the song to 10 people, make them sing. After they have all been able to understand and sing, then you can do your versions over it. It will definitely sound beautiful when you do that. Oh, somebody is calling me. Is it? Hello? Huh? Hello? Sir, I will call you back in exactly 2 minutes. I'll just end my live and call you in 2 minutes. Ideally, I shouldn't have received it, but I don't. I thought somebody is going to give me a suggestion. Sir, Zako Nilsi. It's exactly an hour now. So anyway, thank you, folks. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sachidanand. Thank you, Meera. Thank you, Veena, for coming and making me feel so good. It's really some very nice, thought-provoking questions, and I think and couple of more lives as we progress with better understanding of how to do life in a better way. I'm sure I will share some more. And you can always send me suggestions saying, discuss this today, discuss that today. We'll definitely do it. Okay. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great time. Till we meet again soon. Thank you.